Oh,
Alright, I'm gonna do my free trip on my tractor and trailer. I'm gonna do my approach. I'm gonna check all my lights, my clearance lights on top are properly mounted and secured. They're not broken, cracked, or damaged. They are amber in color. They are clean and they are working properly. I got my headlights. I got my low beams and high beams. They're both properly mounted and secured. They are white in color. They're clean. They're working properly. I got my left and right turn signals. They are amber in color. They're properly mounted and secured. They're not broken, cracked, or damaged. They're clean. They are working properly. They have three functions. They are my left and right turn signals, my running lights, and also my four-way flashes. I'm gonna take a step back to see if there's any leaks underneath my engine compartment, which I don't see any. I'm looking for any coolant, oil, or power steering fluid, maybe even fuel. I'm gonna take another step back to see if there's any leaks on my tractor and trailer. If there was, it'll mean one of three things. It'll mean that I have a shift in my cargo, I'd have a flat tire, or there's something wrong with my suspensions. I'm gonna go ahead and open up my hood. We're never over there. All right. So I'm gonna do these one by one. Okay. This is my coolant reservoir. It's properly mounted and secured. It's not broken, cracked, or damaged. Not missing any nuts or bolts. My cap is on tight. My fluid level is between the minimum and maximum. And it's also not leaking. This is my power steering reservoir. Properly mounted and secured. Not broken, cracked, or damaged. Not missing any nuts or bolts. My caps are on tight. My fluid level is between the minimum and maximum. And there's also no signs of any leaks. This right here is my oil dipstick, my engine oil dipstick, which is properly mounted and secured, not broken, cracked, or damaged. Fluid levels between the minimum and maximum, not missing any nuts or bolts, and it is also not leaking. My hoses, my power steering hoses, and all of my other hoses, there's no abrasions, bolts, or cuts. They are all properly mounted and secured, not missing any nuts, bolts, or clamps, and they are all not leaking. This right here is my steering shaft. It's not bent, broken, cracked, or damaged. Properly mounted and secured, not missing any nuts or bolts, and my knuckles are free of any debris. This right here is my gearbox, which is properly mounted and secured, not broken, cracked, or damaged, not missing any nuts or bolts, also not leaking. Now, all my power steering linkage, that will include my pitman arm, my drag link. This is my upper control arm that's connected to my drag link, my lower control arm, which is also connected to my tie rod. They are all properly mounted and secured. None of them is bent, broken, cracked, or damaged. My ball joints and sockets are all properly greased, no worn boots, and I got all my castle nuts and cotter keys all in place and accounted for. Now let's start with my suspensions. I'm going to start with my leaf spring mounts. I got one in the front and one in the rear. My mounts are properly mounted and secured. They're not broken, cracked, or damaged. There's no missing eye bolts or damaged bushings on my mounts. This right here is my leaf spring itself. It's not bent, broken, cracked, or damaged. It is also not shifted out of alignment more than 1/4 of an inch. Properly mounted and secured. What's going on?
I didn't press the button.
It's all good. I haven't said it to you. All right. My shock absorber is not bent, broken, cracked, or damaged. Properly mounted and secured. Not missing any nuts or bolts. It's also not leaking. All right, that was my suspensions. Let's get to my brakes. Let's start with my brake hoses and my ABS line. They're both properly mounted and secured. There's no abrasions, bulges, or cuts. There's no loose or missing parts, and they are not leaking. Okay, my entire brake system, properly mounted and secured, not broken, cracked, or damaged, not missing any nuts or bolts, no leaks. I got my brake linings, also known as shoe pads, and my brake drums. They're properly mounted and secured, not broken, cracked, or damaged, not missing any nuts or bolts, free of any contaminants such as dirt, oil, and grease. Alright, now with my brakes, let's get to my wheels. My front steer tire is at a good height. My tread depth is evenly worn all the way around. It should be no less than 4/32 of an inch. My inner and outer sidewalls, there's no abrasions, bulges, or cuts. They are properly mounted and secured, properly seated onto my rims. Now I will check the inflation of my tire with the tire gauge, not a tire thumper. It should be at the manufacturer specs that's located on the sidewalls. My rims are properly mounted and secured. They're not broken, cracked, or damaged. No illegal holes or welds. My bolt holes on my rims are not cracked or distorted. This right here is my valve stem and cap. It's not bent. It's not broken, cracked, or damaged. Properly mounted and secured. Cap is on tight. Also not leaking. And I will check that with a tire gauge, not a tire thumper. My lug nuts and studs, they are both properly. They're all properly mounted and secured. None of them is broken, cracked, or damaged. There's no cracks or distortions, and there's no signs of any rust trails or shiny threads, which would indicate I would have a loose lug nut. My driver's side marker light, properly mounted and secured, not broken, cracked, or damaged, amber in color, clean, working properly. Has three functions. It is my left turn signal, my four-way hazard, and also my running light. My mirror and my mirror bracket, properly mounted and secured, not broken, cracked, or damaged, not missing any nuts or bolts. My mirror is clean, properly mounted and secured, no illegal stickers or obstructions. This right here is my battery box, properly mounted and secured, not broken, cracked, or damaged, not missing any nuts or bolts. Let's open that up. Right in here, I have all my batteries. They are all properly mounted and secured, not broken, cracked, or damaged. All my wires are not cut, torn, or frayed, and there's no excessive sign of any corrosion on any of my electrical lines where my battery is. This is my DEF tank and cap. My cap is on tight. It is properly mounted and secured, not broken, cracked, or damaged, and it's also not leaking. This is my fuel tank and cap. My cap is on tight. It is properly mounted and secured. It is not broken, cracked, or damaged, and it's also not leaking. I'm gonna go ahead and check my safety devices. This is my fire extinguisher. It's an ABC fire extinguisher, and it's fully charged in the green. It's present and accounted for. Let me go ahead and open up my baggage compartment. In here, I have my DOT triangles, my 3 DOT triangles, which is present and accounted for, and also my spare fuses that's present and accounted for. Yeah, let me get back here. These are my airlines. My airlines are not cut, torn, or frayed. They're properly mounted and secured. They're properly latched, and they're not leaking. This is my electrical line. My electrical line is not cut, torn, or frayed. There's no signs of any corrosion or exposed wires, and my pigtail is properly seated along with my safety latch in place. This is my tractor frame and cross members. My tractor frame and cross members are properly mounted and secured. They're not broken, cracked, or damaged, not missing any nuts or bolts, no illegal holes or welds. My catwalk and steps, they're both properly mounted and secured. They're not broken, cracked, or damaged, not missing any nuts or bolts. No, it's free of any debris that'll make me slip. Alright, so let me get right here. Let me go ahead and talk about my trailer apron, which is properly mounted and secured. It is not broken, cracked, or damaged. No illegal holes or welds. It properly sits right on top of my fifth wheel skid plate. My fifth wheel skid plate, properly greased. It's not broken, cracked, or damaged. Properly mounted and secured with no gap in between my skid plate and my front trailer apron. This is my release handle. It is properly mounted and secured. It is not bent, broken, cracked, or damaged. It is in its locked, stowed away position. My entire fifth wheel system is properly mounted and secured. It is not broken, cracked, or damaged, and not missing any nuts or bolts. My fifth wheel positioning is positioned so that way my landing gear and my mud flap would have proper clearance when I'm making turns. So right in here I have my locking jaw, which is properly mounted and secured. It is in its locked position. It's not broken, cracked, or damaged. And I have my kingpin, which is also not bent, broken, cracked, or damaged, properly mounted and secured. I got my tractor tail lights. They are red in color. They're properly mounted and secured. They're not broken, cracked, or damaged. They're clean. They are working properly. They have 4 functions on the rear. They are my left and right turn signals, my four-way hazards, my running lights, and also my brake lights. My red and white DOT tape. It's not cut, torn, or frayed. It is properly mounted and secured, and it covers 100% of the rear. My trailer floor is properly mounted and secured. It's not broken, cracked, or damaged. There's no illegal holes or welds. Not missing any nuts or bolts. And it's also strong enough to contain my cargo. Go ahead and go out. You out here, bro? All right, man. I'll see you later, man. You know where I'm at. All right. So, my clearance lights on the front of my trailer, they're properly mounted and secured. They're not broken, cracked, or damaged. They are amber in color. They are clean, and they are working properly. My red and white DOT tape on the side of the length of my trailer is not cut, torn, or frayed. It is properly mounted and secured, and it should cover at least 80% of the length of my trailer. My landing gear is properly mounted and secured. It is fully raised. It's not broken, cracked, or damaged. Not missing any nuts or bolts. My landing gear frame and cross members, they're properly mounted and secured. They're not bent, broken, cracked, or damaged. No illegal holes or welds. Not missing any nuts or bolts. Is my crank handle. It's in the stowaway position. It is properly mounted and secured, and is also not broken, cracked, or damaged. My trailer side marker, amber in color, properly mounted and secured, not broken, cracked, or damaged. It is clean and is actually working properly. It has three functions: my left turn signal, my four-way hazard, and also my running light. My trailer tandems, they're properly mounted and secured. They're not broken, cracked, or damaged. Not missing any nuts or bolts. And it is in its locked position. Right over here, guys. This is my trailer ABS light. It's properly mounted and secured. It's not broken, cracked, or damaged. Amber in color, clean, working properly. If this light were to stay on, I'd have to get my ABS on my trailer serviced immediately. Okay. Now we're gonna go to the rear of my trailer. I'm gonna do an overall condition of the rear of my trailer. I'm gonna first start with my clearance lights on top. They are red in color. They're clean, properly mounted and secured, and they are also working properly. God bless you. I got my red and white DOT tape. It's not cut, torn, or frayed, properly mounted and secured. Covers 100% of the rear of my trailer. My rear trailer tail lights, they're properly mounted and secured. They are red in color. They're clean. They are working properly. They have four functions on the rear. There are my left and right turn signals, my four-way hazards, my brake lights, and also my running lights. This right here is my license plate light, clear in color, properly mounted and secured, not broken, cracked, or damaged, working properly. And I would inspect the right side the same way I just inspected the left side of my tractor and trailer. And this concludes my pre-trip inspection.